Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for joining me for this video today. My name is Leanne and I'm in the garden again. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to go through how I set up the House Tools irrigation system. I'm not sponsored by them, but I thought it would be helpful if you guys were interested in getting a House Tools irrigation system. I'll show you how to set it up. Very little know-how with setting up irrigation systems. I did set one up from scratch that needs a little bit of work. I learned a lot by doing that, but comparing what I did to the House Tools system, it's way easier. It's a lot nicer to not have to guess what you need and to have to keep going back to the store to make sure you have the right fitted sizes of everything. They give you everything you need and some extras, and it was really simple to set up. I got it set up in one afternoon. My husband helped me a bit, and yeah. So let me get into showing you guys how to set it up. If you could take a second to like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. This irrigation system is going to be gravity fed. This is not part of the House Tools kit. This is just the way we decided to do it. We found some food safe barrels for the water reservoir, and we're attaching a simple spigot to it using the Teflon tape to seal it a little bit better. And we set them on top of pallets and fastened them to our fence with some ratchet straps. It's got a list of all the things that it came with, but I'm trying to figure out how to connect this to this. One little critique, it would be nice if there was instructions on how to put this on here the right way. I'm just not that smart, so that might be why. Just doing this wrong. All right, this is what I ended up going with. So I tried to put this on there because it's like a swivel attachment and it would make it easier to take this whole thing on and off. However, this thing leaks really bad. This gasket isn't enough and this tape isn't enough. I'm thinking we're gonna need to caulk it because it's dripping like this. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out a way of how to keep this from dripping. The dripping isn't really that big of a deal for me, but I think it might take away from the pressure a little bit. And I mean, it's just gonna get worse and worse. So far this pressure regulator does not leak at all. So this section, there's no problem. The leak is all coming from here. This House Tools irrigation kit came with a filter combo. That was the filter, the pressure regulator, a swivel connector to connect it easily to the hose. I'm not using the filter because it made it too close to the ground, but I'll use it somewhere else. So I have this off right now, and I am going to go start measuring and cutting things to length. Okay. Regular hand pruners work really great for cutting the tubes. I just use these. These are old, not really that sharp anymore, but it still worked pretty well. So I think I figured out the better way to use these. As you remember, I was struggling earlier to figure this out. So you keep this on, shove this in, trying to hold my phone at the same time, have a steady video. Okay. So fit that in, and then you screw this over the tube to connect it. I think, yeah, that looks right. All right. Comparing this connection to the ones in the irrigation system that I set up from scratch, this one is a lot easier to connect to the tubing, and it leaks very, very little, if at all. So I've got these two ends. One end is going to go to the greenhouse and the other end is going to go to the tomato bed. And I have it over here because I just thought it would be less annoying for it to be over here. So I got this tube. Attach this to here. So far, this is pretty simple. Once I figured out these different types of joints, because I didn't use these for the rest of my other irrigation system that I put together myself. I think I like these better. Okay. Then, I don't know, like, it seems a little bit easier to make it tight, and then you can take it apart more easily if you need to. All right, so now I just need to go cut a line for this, and I make sure I measure it and put the stopper. This was going to allow me to eventually put a shutoff valve here. The kit didn't come with shutoff valves, but I'm planning to put a shutoff valve right here on this tube, and then the same spot on the other, so that I can have all the water pressure going towards the greenhouse, or all the water pressure going towards the tomatoes. I'm growing squash mostly in the greenhouse, so it's going to need a different type of watering schedule, just like a different amount of water than the tomatoes will. So I want to be able to water them at different times. So let's get to it. Okay, this is a simple figure 8 piece. All you do is you feed one end into it, and then you fold the other end in like this. This is a nice way to plug the end of a line without like permanently plugging it, because if you ever wanted to attach something to the end of this to extend where it goes, you could. You just pop this thing right off. It's super easy. So that's that. Instructions say this, but it is easier to use this main line if you let it sit in the sunshine for a little bit. It makes the plastic kind of soften up, or I think it's poly too, but you know what I mean. It softens the material a bit, makes it easier to connect all the bits to it. So just a little tip there. And so now I've got this cut. The kit comes with 100 feet, I believe. I'll double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 100 foot of the main line. This is the leftover from cutting for the greenhouse. And I'm gonna pull this over to that T-bit and attach it to the other end. Boom. All right, that's done. Okay, these bricks came in handy. I used them to hold the main line in place so that I had a straight line to work with. My plan is to put in 3 rows of tomatoes. So I'm gonna run 3 lines from here, and I've got 4 rows of things growing in the greenhouse. So I'll run 4 lines with that. Start getting started with that now. I'm gonna take this line, I'm gonna feed it underneath the greenhouse frame, and then start making the holes for the drip line. Alrighty, I've got it fed under here and all the way underneath the other end of it, or side, if you will. And this is where it stops for the greenhouse one and continues for the tomato one. All right, drip tape time. Okay, my greenhouse has 4 rows of things growing in it. So I'm going to run 4 lines of the drip tape. I can always add lines if I want to, but I'm gonna do 4 for now because that's all I really need. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the tomato bed, just with 3. I've got these bits here and the punch to put my lines in. Not sure if these are great angles for you guys, but I'm trying. Okay. It's pretty easy to use. The hole punch does take a little bit of elbow grease. And then this thingamabob, drip line starter. Okay, so this twists. this green thing, whatever you call it. You want it to be twisted all the way as close to the main line as you can get it. And then you just fit this drip tape over it. There's little ribs on this drip tape row starter. And you want to get this over it as much as you can. The more you get this closer to the drip line and closer to this green twisty thing, the less dripping at this joint what you'll have. So, and then you just twist it over it like that. And you want to make sure that the holes for the drip tape are facing downward. So there's a hole every 12 inches. Let me see if I can find one for you. Yeah. So this is a hole right here, every 12 inches. I believe they have drip tape that is, has the holes further apart. So I'm gonna roll this out and then I'll show you guys the finished product. I'm gonna show you the finished project starting at the reservoir. We have these 3 rain barrels, but we only have one connected to the irrigation system, and that's actually plenty. I wasn't thinking that would be enough, but it's perfect. We have this for the reservoir instead of connecting it to the house because a couple reasons. One, we wanted a way to collect water in case of emergencies. And 2, it's better for the garden to be watered with rainwater. But if we don't ever collect enough rainwater, sorry, it's super windy. If we don't collect enough rainwater, we'll fill it with the hose. So it's just a lot easier to have an irrigation system set up. Okay, so here, pressure regulator combo. This is the pressure regulator. I'm not sure what this piece is called. And this is just the bit that connects to it. I'm planning to mulch over it, but I have not yet. It's over here. And this is where I put the T. So I just have this brick here to hold it down. The T right there, so it takes one to the greenhouse, and the other one goes to the tomato bed. This attachment was super easy to put on. Eventually I'm going to put a shutoff valve so that I can water each space on its own. Okay. We've got 4 tubes running through the greenhouse. And then I've got 3 over here. Hold on a second, Jesse's grabbing onto my legs. 3 over here. And I just got my stakes up for the tomatoes. Hopefully be planting those out the day that I upload this video. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Consistent watering is a huge game changer with having success in gardening. It's one of the things that takes the most time if you don't have an irrigation system. So I highly recommend it. If you don't have a lot of time to devote to gardening, having an irrigation system helps in a couple of ways. One, you're not spending the time, hey dude, you're fine. You're not spending the time outside to water your garden, which if you were gonna give a good deep watering, you'd wanna be out there for like an hour, depending on how big your garden was. But it doesn't only help with that. So you're not getting bitten up by mosquitoes because you're not outside in the evening or in the early morning watering your garden. And you're also not doing as much weeding because you're only giving water to the plants that you want to be growing. You will still have some weeds, but it will be way, way less. So I highly recommend irrigation systems, and that is my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you need a friend to learn how to garden with, I'm your girl. Happy gardening.